These, particularly the international universities, they're only accessed by the people who've got enormous family money to enable them to be there. And I was chatting to somebody in the office here actually today who was saying that on a course that she's familiar with, there are 30 students, 28 of them are Chinese. It is a British university. And they're not particularly good, but they have to pass them because their parents have paid for them to be here and to pay these enormous fees. Now,
I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that. But aren't we running the risk, David, of having some students arriving here with an excellent education but not necessarily a good work ethic?
Well, absolutely. I mean, this is a ridiculous scheme. Immigration is way too high as it is, and this is just going to allow more people to come to the country that perhaps we don't need. You know, the people who are from some of these universities who are good, you know, who are really talented, like, say, someone's from MIT, they've got a PhD in nuclear physics, well, they could come to the country anyway on an employment visa sponsored by someone who specifically wants them to come here to do a specific job, or they could come on a business visa if they want to start a business. But then you may get someone, say, who's come from Berkeley University, who's done gender studies, who's not going to contribute anything to the country at all. Why would you want them to come in?
There's nothing wrong with gender studies.
They're just going to come
and use it, right?
Talk a load of nonsense, aren't they? We don't want them.
Depends how you use your understanding. You might go out there and fight for the right sort of gender studies. I can't help but think. But at the moment, I am living in a country where there is not enough people to staff any of the cafes, the shops, the trains I go into. Where has everybody gone, Miata? And are these genuinely the type of people that we need here? Don't we need more folk who are prepared to do the less paid jobs that our lazy British teenagers won't do?
Yeah, look, I think a couple of things. I completely agree with the point about upskilling and actually investing in skills and having a skill system that works for people, because at the moment we don't, it's very broken. But we also have to recognise that, you know, we've got big labour market gaps. So all well and good, they can have this scheme for, you know, high educated graduates from whatever universities, but the big labour shortages are in construction, they're in agriculture where we don't have people, they're in hospitality, they're in social care. So we're seeing huge, and with all the will in the world, even if you're to train your own people, it takes a matter of time. So we need the whole point of our immigration system was that it was supposed to be responsive to the needs. And if there are big gaps, I don't understand.
But surely the government should have focused on this during our transition out of the European Union.
Oh, yes,
instead it isn't. I mean, there was the crisis with the HGV drivers. People that have been campaigning for Brexit were saying for years, we need to make the jobs that British people are seemingly apparently too lazy to do, we need to make those jobs actually more attractive and make people actually want to do them. That's the problem.
You can't make strawberry picking very attractive.
No, I mean, for example, with HGV drivers, there was an issue with the supply of those because a lot of European workers went home during the pandemic. All of a sudden, we realised, hey, let's raise the pay and actually make people say, oh, I want to do this job where I have to be on the road for hours and work extremely unsociable hours and I can't really see my family that much. That is the answer. Of course, I understand there are short-term issues to address, but we can't keep supplementing the problems that we have in this country with people from abroad.